Hey guys, today here I have a 6-fight war, 5 with Nick Fury and then 1 with Toad. So for this war we're against x5e. So yeah, for my fights, first off I have no 2 thing with Nick Fury. Yeah, it's not too hard of a fight, but always danger in these slow fights. Well, fairly slow fights, it's not too slow. Just don't want to get cornered against Sting, and that's the main thing. Got a white max pre-fight, so it's not too difficult to avoid getting cornered, but I have died to this fight before by being a scrub, so I was being super careful here. And yeah, trying to bait these L1s. He's not really wanting to throw it, but whatever. As long as I don't get, too backed up, we're gonna try and stick with that game plan mainly. And if we get backed up, we're gonna have to do more hits in the block and push L2s and stuff to get out of the corner. That's the plan for this, and throw my special too to get better spacing as well. And with that, gonna be, a fairly slow fight, at least for Nick Fury and max boost standards, but nothing too difficult. Just chunking it down a little bit. And yeah. Not much to say here, so we're just fighting thing with Nick Fury. It's a pretty boring fight. And yeah. We've got good spacing at this point, so I wasn't going to throw that L2. Left it for my L3 just in case I could use that to finish off the fight or something. And yeah, I mean, this fight's kind of a joke. As long as you don't play like a scrub. And I didn't here, thankfully. Yeah, took a minute, 37 seconds. Not too bad, but definitely not a quick fight. And then we have Toad versus 11 Nick Fury. Now the tricky thing here is you gotta keep your debuffs up to bypass second life. And due to ebb and flow knockdown, it's really difficult to do that. And I end up messing it up here. So I get a little bit of a harder fight, just because ebb and flow stuff makes it harder to bypass second life, but it's all good. Toad does Toad things, and yeah. Just gonna chunk it down. And I was prepared for him to have his second life at full health and whatnot, so I wasn't too panicked when it happened. I was like, if I bypass it, nice. If I don't, we'll deal with it. And that was my prep for this fight. And yeah, just taking it slow, fighting Nick Fury as you normally do. And yeah, the nodes aren't too difficult, but there is heavy hitter, which basically just makes the second life a little tricky. But I mean, displacement has been around for like 3 years or something. I've taken it with a bunch of different champions at this point, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, this is what I mean by ebb and flow making this more difficult, because that just means I don't get to bypass the second life. And yeah, that's the danger of this fight, having that happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, just gotta be prepared for that to happen. And for second life, if this happens, I recommend just playing it patiently. And yeah, as long as you've conserved your health in first life, you're not gonna be worried about the chip damage. And yeah, the reason Toad is nice for this is because he doesn't have to land too many hits to get down the life because of the poisons and everything. And yeah, I did play a little bit risky there with the heavy hitter, but it's all good. Didn't get punished, and I had an invuln on, so yeah. And then I have 3 more Nick Fury fights in a row here with an invuln, Sui's on, everything. And yeah, fairly easy for the next 3 fights. Well, next 4 fights are all fairly easy. This Chavez, you just don't knock her down. And this Chavez wasn't running Mystic Dispersion 5. As always, Chavez throws her heavy. It's not something I'm worried about. I'm very good at fighting Chavez. And, with Nick Fury, you don't have to worry about the reverb at all, because all of his damage comes off DOT, which is great. And yeah, we're pushing her, hopefully to her L3. But she ends up throwing L2, which is perfectly fine. We push her into orange phase just in case. That's how you make the pushing to L3 safe. L3 strat safe against Chavez is, making sure you get that orange phase when you're pushing her up there. But, So that's how you make this fight safe. It's reasonably quick, even just chunking through Ebb and Full Fury. And this one didn't have Mystic Dispersion 5, and it was an R3 Chavez, so it was a pretty easy fight. Because, I'm max boosted with an R4 Nick and Sui's, so it's going to be over quick. And next up, we have a Hyperion on node 25. This fight is super simple. Just do some combos, and you win the fight, basically. And yeah. It's just Hyperion. I have an Invuln on, of course. And we have a White Manx pre-fight here again. We had a bunch of extra White Manx pre-fights, so I got him on all of my fights except for the Surfer, I believe. So that's nice, I guess. And yeah, 4-hit combos helps control power, and none of the abilities for this fight really matter because you're going to end the fight before anything gets dangerous. As you can see here, we're 15 seconds into the fight. He gets his special 3, but he's at 26% health, and I have an Invuln, so, I win the fight. And yeah. Now just one more combo, and my fight is over. And then, for the Surfer. So the thing with this Surfer, he's going to be fully unblockable because he's going to get those armor breaks and everything. Not a big deal. It's just the Surfer. And I wasn't originally taking any more fights, so my thought process was basically if I got a second life, not a big deal. But I ended up taking one more fight because the other guy was busy, who was meant to be taking it. And it's a good matchup for Nick Fury anyway, but yeah. For this fight, we leave Sui's on. The node does have a heal block, but ending the fight quicker seemed more important than conserving that health, so I just left Sui's on. And yeah, as you can see, we're not going to lose too much health from the Sui's, even with the heal block, just because we're going to end the fight quick enough. And yeah, he goes a little passive here, which is quite annoying. It's not a big deal, but it's just a little annoying. Get our sidestep there. Surfer is very easy to sidestep and counter his L1, so that's why I wasn't worried about this with the unblockable and everything. And yeah, pretty easy fight. And then we have a Scorpion on node 55. I have a White Manx pre-fight, and I have an Invuln on here. So my plan is to do 2 4-hit combos, then a 5-hit combo into an L1, and that'll stop the first evade, and then I'm going to kill Scorpion before the second evade happens. And that's the plan here, and it's... there is some risk of the Disorient failing my second parry, but if that happens, you just adjust with a 4-hit combo that isn't all lights, and you get a little bit slower, but it's still perfectly safe going with this strategy. And yeah, as you're gonna see here, this fight is really quick because Scorpion has a tiny health pool, and yeah, it kind of makes him awful on defense, just having such a tiny health pool. Means, any option for him is going to have a really quick time. And yeah, Nick Fury has class advantage, White Mag, Sui's, and max boost and everything, so the fight's just over. And yeah, pretty easy fight, not much about it. And yeah, my BG ended up with 1 death this war, was just someone entering a fight with the wrong champion, which was really annoying. But we're doing decent. We had a 2-death war for the ally overall, so I think we have the second highest AB right now, which is nice. Hopefully gonna be challenging for top 3, maybe even challenging for second, third, first, maybe if things line up ideally, hopefully. But if we can get top 3 this season, that'd be great. Just gotta keep playing the way we've been playing these last 2 wars, and we can definitely compete up there. So yeah, that's all for this war. Take care, guys, and thank you to my Patreon supporter, Senor Dunny.